All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, in the blink of an eye, the Los Angeles Lakers went from being a team that some people believed could get to the NBA Finals to being a team that was sent home in round one of the NBA playoffs. And the Minnesota Timberwolves made it look very easy. The Lakers got sent home courtesy of a gentleman's sweep as Minnesota sent them packing in 5 games. And like I said before, at times the Timberwolves made it look easy. And in the process, they exposed all of the flaws of the Lakers. The first nail in the coffin of the Lakers was cast in game number one when the Timberwolves went to Los Angeles and shot more than 51% from the field as they cruised to the 117-95 win. And in the post-game presser, Lakers rookie head coach JJ Redick talked about the fact that his team needed to be better prepared. But the last time I checked, isn't Redick the head coach? And shouldn't that buck stop with him? I'm just throwing it out there. So we saw the Lakers tie this series at 94. I mean, in game two with a 94-85 win. Okay. But from that point on, you go to game three, LA had no answers for the Timberwolves in game three as Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, and Jaden McDaniels combined to score 81 points in Minnesota's 116-104 win over the Lakers in Minneapolis. Then, of course, there was a pivotal game four this past Sunday afternoon where the Lakers wasted a 38-point performance from Luka Doncic, along with the fact that they squandered a 10-point lead heading into the fourth quarter. And why did the Lakers blow that 10-point lead, you ask? Well, plain and simple, because LeBron's podcast buddy, and I'm talking about JJ Redick, failed to use his bench for the entire second half of that contest. Luca and LeBron, for like the last 6 minutes or so of that game, they were on fumes, especially Luca. All right. And to me, I think it's very foolish to go out there and ask a 40-year-old player like LeBron, as well as a superstar who has had conditioning questions throughout his NBA career, to play the entire second half of an NBA playoff game. And then you go back to game five last night. The Lakers needed to win that game, of course, in order to stave off elimination. But after just one quarter, they found themselves down by 9 points already, and they never had an answer for Timberwolves center Rudy Gobert, who finished the game with 27 points and 24 rebounds, which was and is a Timberwolves playoff franchise record. You look at this series, the Lakers were the 3 seed, but it was the Timberwolves who played like the higher seed as they dominated throughout. They were the better coach team. They flat out were the better team. And honestly, if at this rate, if the Timberwolves had to play the Lakers 5 more times right now in the playoffs, LA would probably maybe just get a game. And if you don't know, you better recognize. I mean, Anthony Edwards made a name for himself in the Timberwolves playoff run last year to the Western Conference Finals, and he picked up right where he left off for the series. Ant-Man averaged nearly 27 points, 8.5 boards, and more than 6 assists. And like I said, the Lakers got exposed in this series. But more importantly, their rookie head coach got exposed. I said this when it happened, and I am going to stick by this. JJ Redick was hired because he's LeBron's podcast buddy, and he's there to captain LeBron's farewell tour for forever, how long that is going to last. But nonetheless, Redick was exposed in this series. I can't go back, or I have to go back, and I can't overlook once again the tail after game one. How can you, as a head coach, say that your team needs to go out there and be better prepared? That is your job to get them prepared. And again, you didn't utilize your bench, and you didn't utilize your bench throughout this entire series. You look at it, both Luka and LeBron averaged more than 40 minutes per game in this contest. And once you get outside of Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and Dorian Finney-Smith, the minutes per game in this series saw a huge drop off. Where on the flip side, for Minnesota, Anthony Edwards was the only guy that was over the 40-minute per game mark in this series. But nonetheless, Minnesota had 8 guys, okay, who saw the field, or saw the court rather, for more than 20 minutes in throughout, or average more than 20 minutes throughout this series. The Lakers were out rebounded throughout this series by Minnesota. They were outscored by more than 40 points if you combine all 5 fourth quarters. And again, that comes down to the fact that the Lakers didn't have fresh legs. And I think it was a trickle down effect more and more and more throughout this series. Again, I can't harp on game 4 enough. You go at it, yeah, the Lakers had an additional day's rest between games 4 and 5. They didn't recover from that. They didn't have their legs. Okay. And this is something that Reddick is going to have to learn from. Why? Because, you know, you have to read the room, and you only had a day off between game 3 and 4, and now you're going to go out there and put so much strain on your starters. But at the end of the day, JJ Redick is an extension of LeBron. Okay, and it's one of those throughout his career. LeBron has really not trusted young players. JJ Redick doesn't trust these young players either. And on top of that, if you're Redick, how can you go out there and not utilize these guys, to sit them, take away their confidence? They're useless at that point. Okay, Reddick made 0 adjustments throughout this series. He didn't utilize his bench. He kept Jackson Hayes on the bench chopping wood, and he was the only real size that you had. And you never made an adjustment for game 5 with Rudy Gobert. It's one of those where, if you had asked anybody going into that game, any people that bet, to say, hey, Rudy Gobert is going to have 20 plus points and 20 plus rebounds, you would have been shocked. But of course, when Rudy Gobert gets those type of numbers, guess what? The Timberwolves are going to win, because Ant-Man did not have a good shooting game in game number 5. But most of the bulk of all of Rudy Gobert's points were simply on putbacks as he cleaned up on the boards. And honestly, Minnesota had a size advantage throughout, and they utilized it. Okay, it's one of those where Luka Doncic is not a good defensive player. The Minnesota Timberwolves, exposed that, as if we did not already know that. They went after and went at a 40-year-old LeBron, who is going to score his points. But guess what? The guy who LeBron is guarding is going to score his points as well. And like I said, JJ Redick made 0 adjustments throughout this series. And last night's game was another prime example of it. And I'll tell you like this, for year number 1, as far as JJ Redick being a head coach, it ain't no fun when the Rabbits got the gun. Okay. And the reason why I say that is, as an analyst, okay, JJ Redick was quick to criticize other coaches, but now he can't even take the questions at his own pressure. We saw him walk out, the other day. He did, stay around and, say some things after, the Lakers season was over. But again, there's no accountability there. And this is why, he falls in line with LeBron. And this, again, they're podcast buddies. And JJ Redick talked about, some guys on that team being in shape and others not, which is true. Okay. But the thing is, if you're going to put it out there, you got to call people out completely. I'm just saying. You look at this Lakers team, they're not going anywhere. Okay. And let's not fool ourselves. Okay. You go back to last year, LeBron was quick, very quick, to run Darvin Ham out of town. Okay, Darvin Ham basically overachieved with 2 Lakers teams. He got him to the Western Conference Finals back in 2023. He was expected to come back and compete against the same Denver Nuggets team that swept the Lakers the year before in the postseason. And of course, you saw what it got Darvin Ham. It got him his walking papers. It wasn't that much different with the Lakers this year. All it was basically trading Anthony Davis for Luka Doncic. But at the end of the day, being the head coach of the Lakers right now is a job that nobody wants because nobody wants to deal with LeBron and nobody really wants to go out there and say it. Okay. Hence why JJ Redick is there. Okay. They put Dalton Connect in doghouse. He's a rookie. Again, not trusting your young players. And it's one of those, if you don't trust a guy, then why play him? I know he was going to be a part of that potential Mark Williams trade to Charlotte. Lakers really could have used him in this series. But nonetheless, if you got guys on your team, you got to find a way to utilize them. So at the end of the day, where do the Lakers go from here? It's going to be more of the same because you look at it, it's going to be a LeBron and Luca heavy team. Just like the last couple of years, it was a LeBron and Ant Davis heavy team. Why? Because the Lakers don't have a lot of financial flexibility. I know that Rob Pelinka is backing on there being a lot of player movement this summer around the NBA, and there will be some player movement due to that additional salary cap apron that a lot of people are not going to want to deal with. That is probably one of the Lakers' only hopes. But you look at it right now, you're not going to have a lot of financial flexibility if you're Los Angeles when you're talking about two guys in Doncic and LeBron are basically taking up or accounting for about $100 million in salary by themselves. So again, there's not a lot of flexibility right there for the Lakers. One would ask, is this it for LeBron? And I'm going to say absolutely not. LeBron James has a player option on the table for next season at more than $52 million. LeBron ain't walking away from that. Okay, that's number one. And number two, LeBron is going to stick around the NBA as long as he continues to get contracts where he's going to get close to, if not more, than $50 million a year. And at the end of the day, the Lakers are going to let him do whatever he wants to do. So he's not going to give that up anytime soon. All right. And at the end of the day, when LeBron leaves, I guarantee you he's going to let the world know that he's going to leave because he's going to want his farewell tour. At the end of the day, I get it. People were happy. We all were shocked with the trade of Luka Doncic to the Lakers. We saw how this team came on, this, that, and third. But let's not forget, outside of the Oklahoma City Thunder, record wise, it was pretty close for everybody else in the Western Conference this year. It wasn't a lot that separated teams. So this isn't like your typical 3 seed in the Lakers and might have won 55 games and a 6 seed in the Timberwolves that might have won 44 or 43 games. They were right there with each other. Anthony Edwards is a special player. Anthony Edwards in the postseason is a very special player. And of course, he built off of this, and he's going to look to get his Timberwolves to the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history. And he's a guy that has the potential to do it. You look at a veteran point guard like Mike Conley, and yes, a true, legit point guard. He gives the Timberwolves something else. We saw guys, and we're seeing young guys like Nas Reed step up. Jaden McDaniels is a good player, and we should have known that before this season. Okay, this is not some new revelation. Julius Randle's been around the block. Julius Randle's playing for a contract right now. Okay, so the Timberwolves have themselves a very good team, and don't think that nobody should really think that this was an upset, if you will. The Lakers, for the last couple of years, they've been star heavy. They lack balance, and it shows. And of course, so much inexperience at the head coaching position has showed up, at critical times in the last couple of years. And guess what? It showed up once again. Minnesota was a better team. They were more athletic. They were the better coach team, and it showed. And that's why the Lakers are done, and the Timberwolves are sitting back waiting to see who moves on between Golden State and Houston. Uh, you really shouldn't be surprised by this. Some will. That's fine. It's all well and good. But at the end of the day, it was inevitable. No adjustments from JJ Redick. Uh, no answers for Anthony Edwards. No answers for Rudy Gobert. No answers for the Timberwolves, period. That's why the Lakers are finished. But, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw in this podcast, please feel free to hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. I guarantee you it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. As far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. You can always check it out. You could also check me out on Instagram at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. And just like it goes for Twitter, if you follow me, I'll give you that follow right back. But once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.